Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I will talk about the big one. Ano nga ba ito at paano ito paghahandaan? The big one is defined as a strong and damaging earthquake scenario. This is also often equated to the worst-case earthquake that may happen in the greater Metro Manila area. However, there can be many worst-case earthquake scenarios in the Philippines. Therefore, there can be many big ones. There is much to discuss about the big one in Metro Manila, but first, let's discuss some basics about earthquakes. Have there been earthquakes that caused damage in Metro Manila? The answer is a big yes. Most of you may remember the 1990 earthquake, and those who are not so young anymore, the Ruby Tower earthquake. The more recent earthquakes that were felt in Metro Manila are the magnitude 6.1 earthquake that struck the island of Luzon in Zambales, Philippines, leaving at least 18 dead, 3 missing, and injuring at least 350 others. A more recent one originated from as far as Abra, where the Philippine fault in that area generated a magnitude 7.1 earthquake which was felt in Metro Manila up to as much as intensity 5. In Quezon City, intensity values were lower, registering intensity 2 to 3 and intensity 4. But in the coastal areas near Manila Bay, intensities were higher, reaching up to intensity 5. At this point, you may be wondering what the difference is between magnitude and intensity. The magnitude or energy of an earthquake can be compared to the measure of the energy released by a light bulb. A lit 100-watt bulb has energy that lights up a room. The closer a person is to the light bulb, the higher the intensity of light. But as one moves away farther from the light bulb, the intensity of light decreases. There is a corresponding decrease in the intensity of the brightness of light with distance. The farther you are from the light source, the lower the intensity. Earthquakes are measured according to the energy they release, which corresponds to a value in the magnitude scale. The Abra earthquake, for example, measured as magnitude 7.1, which is slightly more than magnitude 7. This kind of earthquake is equivalent to the detonation of 30 Hiroshima atomic bombs. As the energy spreads, it travels in the form of waves known as seismic or earthquake waves. Just like the light bulb, the farther you are from the earthquake source, the lower the earthquake intensity. Before the Abra and Zambales earthquakes, what were the earthquakes that were felt in Metro Manila? In a National Research Council of the Philippines publication in 1937, Jose Feliciano, considered the father of Philippine geology, listed the earthquakes that were felt in Metro Manila from 1595 to 1950. There were several intensity 9 earthquakes, but notably, there were 2 extremely large earthquakes. The first happened in November 1645 with an intensity of 10, and the second was on June 3, 1863, which also had an intensity of 10. This intensity in the Rossi-Forel scale is described as an extremely high intensity tremor that creates a great disaster, ruins, disturbance of the strata, fissures in the ground, and rock falls from mountains. Here is a plot of earthquakes that have happened near Metro Manila. The magnitude 7.9 earthquake in 1645, the magnitude 7.6 earthquake in 1852, which happened offshore of Bataan, the magnitude 7.6 earthquake in 1860, the magnitude 6.6 earthquake in 1852, which was also offshore, the 1968 magnitude 7.3 Kasiguran earthquake, the magnitude 7.5 earthquake in 1937, the magnitude 7.8 earthquake in 1990, the magnitude 6.1 earthquake of 2019 in Zambales, and there is one identified that happened in Manila Bay. Now, question is if there are other earthquakes that happened near Manila. The answer again is yes, and you're seeing the plot of these earthquakes on the map as blue dots. There are a lot of dots, and the majority of these were too small to be felt by people. Now, if there are devastating earthquakes that will be felt in Metro Manila, where will they be coming from? The likely sources are from left to right, the Manila Trench, the Marikina Valley Fault, and the Philippine Fault. These are the nearest to Metro Manila and are the ones that can be devastating. The Zambales earthquake in 2019, which was felt in Metro Manila, was generated by an unknown fault in that area. This fault is not plotted in the PHIVOLCS active faults map and can be a hidden fault, or was just not mapped like the Inabanga fault or the North Bohol fault, a fault which was only identified after the October 2013 Bohol earthquake. Ano ba ang mga panganib na dala ng lindol kung mangyayari ito sa Manila? These are the hazards that we really must prepare for before an earthquake strikes. Earthquake hazards and their heavy impacts usually occur proximal to the responsible fault. Because of this understanding, we can readily say why active faults need to be mapped out accurately. Earthquake hazard number 1 is ground rupture. Ground rupture is when the fault moves and displaces the ground. Never build on top of a fault because if it moves, any structure on top will be torn apart. Rapid movement along a fault during an earthquake can heat up rocks along the fault and make them melt. That is the power of an earthquake rupture. I don't know of any man-made structure that can withstand such a force. So never, ever build on top of an active fault. To determine where active faults are located, please visit the website of PHIVOLCS and look for the Fault Finder app. Earthquake hazard number 2 is ground shaking. Ground shaking is a term used to describe the vibration of the ground during an earthquake. Ground shaking is caused by earthquake waves. As a generalization, the severity of ground shaking increases as magnitude increases and decreases as distance from the causative fault increases. In this photo, the bottom floors are already gone and what is left is the top floor and the roof. Everything on the lower floors of this building was crushed during the 2019 Zambales earthquake because that place where that collapse happened was near the earthquake source. The preparation you must do for earthquake ground shaking is to get hold of the PHIVOLCS checklist on how safe is my house. By answering the questions, you will get a score that will tell you how your house rates in terms of its safety against ground shaking. It is also critical that your building was constructed following the building code of the Philippines. Theoretically, if your house follows the latest building code and structural code of the Philippines, it is quote-unquote safe from ground shaking. The third earthquake hazard is liquefaction. Liquefaction is a process by which water-saturated sediment temporarily loses strength and acts like a fluid. Dahil sa pagyanig, ang graba at buhangin ay naghahalo sa tubig sa ilalim ng lupa o groundwater at nagiging putik ang lupa. This effect, where there are sand or mud boils and lateral spread, can be caused by earthquake shaking. Kapag nagkaroon ng liquefaction, tuwing may lindol, maaaring ang mga gusali ay tumagilid dahil ang lupa sa ilalim o pundasyon ay nagiging malambot. This is what happened to a building in Manila during the 2019 Zambales earthquake and also in Dagupan during the 1990 earthquake. Maaari din na magkabitak-bitak ang lupa dahil ang ilalim ay lumambot o nag-liquefy. Ang matigas na kalupaan sa taas nito ay tatagilid pagkatapos mabitak. During earthquakes, fractures on the surface are quite noticeable and can damage the flooring of houses and even the walls of houses. For buildings in liquefiable areas to withstand liquefaction, it is important to follow the guidelines of the Building Code of the Philippines. Scientists have noticed that fractures on the surface, which are due to lateral spreading, become more prevalent nearer to streams and rivers. Landslides are also associated with earthquakes. This is the fourth type of earthquake hazard. Unstable slopes can be triggered by ground shaking to collapse. Many hills in Bohol collapsed and permanently scarred the Chocolate Hills when the North Bohol Fault, or otherwise known as the Inabanga Fault, moved in 2013. Many mountains in the Zambales Range also collapsed and generated various types of landslides during the Zambales earthquake in 2019. 8 Aitas died in the mountains of Zambales and Pampanga. When this happened, one of the Aitas said, "Ayaw na ho naming bumalik sa dati naming lugar kasi napakalaki ng landslide at mga biyak na lupa. Kami na ho ang gumagawa ng mga bahay namin dito mula sa kawayan na kuha namin sa bundok." Make sure that your residence is not in the path of a landslide by checking landslide hazard maps before the big one happens. There were so many landslides in the area where the Aitas lived. We counted a total of 2,526 landslides from satellite and drone imagery. Earthquake hazard number 5 is fire. During the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco, most of the deaths were due to fire. As a precaution against fire during an earthquake, make sure that your kitchen gas tank or gasol is closed so that a spark will not ignite the gas. The number 6 earthquake hazard is a tsunami. These are large waves that are triggered by earthquakes that rupture the seafloor. When the body of water is displaced by the earthquake, a tsunami may form. If the Manila Trench west of Luzon moves, it can generate a tsunami as high as 5 meters and reach the coastal areas of Metro Manila within an hour. Look at tsunami hazard maps to know if they can reach your place of residence or office or the school of your child. Hanapin ang tsunami hazard map sa PHIVOLCS website. Know the extent of the inundation of a tsunami so that you know your escape route. There is not much time to research this when the tsunami strikes. Lumayo sa tabi ng dagat o pumunta sa mataas na lugar. Earthquake hazard number 7 is seiche. If you have observed water sloshing back and forth in a swimming pool, bathtub, or cup of water, you may have witnessed a small-scale seiche. On a much grander scale, the same phenomenon occurs in large bodies of water, such as bays and lakes. A seiche may occur in any semi or fully enclosed body of water. In 2019, waterfalls emanating from the top floor of skyscrapers were observed. This is most probably due to seiche in swimming pools and water tanks that eventually spilled huge volumes of water from the top of buildings. Earthquakes don't kill. It's the hazards that do the killing. If we prepare for the hazards before the earthquakes happen, we increase our chances of survival from the big one. If we follow strictly our building code, we increase our chances of survival. Building earthquake-resilient structures is a good way of mitigating the loss of lives from earthquakes, and this is the current push in earthquake prevention and mitigation, since earthquakes can't be predicted as to the exact time and date they will happen. We now turn to technology and earthquake engineering to understand better how we can prepare for the big one. In the context of Metro Manila, this is a magnitude 7.2 earthquake that will emanate from the Marikina Valley Fault. If that happens, about 34,000 people may die according to experts. Certainly, we can do something if we prepare against the earthquake hazards and mitigate the loss of life and property. Remember, there is something we can do. Remember that earthquakes per se do not kill. It is the hazards that do. Maraming salamat po.